This episode of the Helping Healing Humor podcast is brought to you by Faulkner University. Choosing where to go to college is a big decision, and Faulkner University is the right choice for many reasons. First and foremost, they're committed to biblical teaching. Each of their 85 outstanding academic programs infuse Christian principles into the curriculum and prepare students for professional success in their career and meaningful service in their community. Their main campus in Montgomery, Alabama offers an abundance of opportunities for internships, networking, and entertainment. Over 96% of their students receive financial aid, making Faulkner education a great value. Faulkner is a Christian university dedicated to helping you grow strong in your faith, and their family-like atmosphere will make you feel right at home. Check out faulkner.edu today.
Welcome into the Helping Healing Humor podcast with Ben and Travis. We are glad that you are with us once again and excited to be on the podcast together. Excited to have someone who is no stranger to Ben and Travis and all the audience out there. Blake Hollimon is with us today. Blake has been with us a couple of times. Blake, how you doing today?
Doing good. Glad you guys asked me to be a part of this and looking forward to talking with you guys.
Well, we are glad to have you with us.
You left out the most prestigious part. Blake is our resident barner.
I knew you were going to say
that. He's our resident barner, and this is not the bowl pick'em, but I'm looking forward to that. It's one of my favorite things that we do.
That's coming up,
and so you'll have to look out for that on Facebook and join in. We got our bowl pick'em going on right now. You can come out and try to beat the official Ben and Travis bowl pick'em. So I'll make sure to put that down in the
He's also the voiceover for a couple of our crazier things that we do, and so we're glad. The Sons of Blunder. That's what I was trying to get at earlier. He's the voiceover of the Sons of Blunder.
Been in a couple of videos, showing off some dance moves.
He has through the years been in quite a few of them.
We got to somehow get those GIFs up on where it's.
That would be
accessible by everybody, so you can use
especially
your favorite Ben and Travis
dance move. Yeah.
Or Blake GIF.
The floss. If you're on Twitter, you can search my name, Blake Hollimon, under GIFs, and it'll pop up.
Oh, and it does come up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've loaded it.
Travis, how you doing?
Man, I'm great. I'm hanging out with two of my favorite people. One of, if not my favorite barner, that puts up with all of our nonsense. And that Iron Bowl, I don't think anybody won that one. I know we got the W, but I feel like I lost a lot that Saturday night. And I just try to leave you alone. Like, you guys are texting back and forth during the Iron Bowl, and I'm just like, I can't even bring myself to use the text.
As Ben is texting, and the world is literally on fire, and the whole time I'm saying Auburn's going to lose. We're going to find a way to lose. I've been here too many times before, and sure enough.
And I kept telling him, like, stop doing that. You're just trying to like will the win so that we, get the loss somehow. And he's like, stop it, quit. And then he's like, see, I told you that was what was going to happen.
Well, to make you feel better, we were all sitting there going, Alabama's going to lose this game. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, we were down 10-0 and we couldn't do anything. So I really did think we were going to lose the game and gave up on it a couple of times. And my dad just walked over to the TV and turned it off once. And then a few minutes later, we heard that we got an interception, so he went and turned it back on.
Let's not make Blake.
We're not going to make it. Yeah. We won't really.
Speaking of that, we're going to talk a little bit about getting through the holidays.
Yeah. And that was during the holidays.
Yeah,
so
we have tradition that I come to Florence. We go to my in-laws, or in-loves, as they say, for Thanksgiving, and then we make the trek over. We have the Hayes thing on Friday night, and then we stick around for as much of the Iron Bowl we can put up with, and that was quite literally the case on this one. And so that's when the holidays kick off around here.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure that's pretty much everyone in the United States. Kind of the holidays get rolling with Thanksgiving.
And you don't really, you kind of go back to work, but it's like, it feels like you're sort of floating in those couple of weeks in between Thanksgiving, because you're already sort of making plans and talking about what's going to happen. And I mean, we've already had one Christmas party. We've got another one coming up pretty soon. So, and you guys are probably like us. You end up, having them. When's your first Christmas party, Blake? Do you know? Or is that your wife to determine?
My wife we have a shared calendar. And so I show up whenever she says, this is what we've got and when we've got it. So I'm sure it's soon.
Glad we're here together. We get to talk about some of these things. So we wanted to just mention a few things. I know sometimes the holidays are difficult. And they're difficult for different people for different reasons. And so we wanted to just share a couple of things about maybe surviving the holidays, getting through the difficult stuff or the great stuff. I mean, whatever it may be. And so we were just going to share a couple of thoughts with you. I know one of the things that I think it's important for us to remember as we're going through the holidays is just simply to enjoy the time. Like, to really soak it in, enjoy the time that you get with your family, and not just be so I guess I don't know if y'all feel this way, but sometimes I feel like we're just rushing around from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. Thanksgiving, especially, it's like all one day. I guess Christmas too, but generally tend to kind of spread it out, I guess, a little bit more sometimes. But I've heard a lot of people talk about this, that they're rushing from one family to the next. And then, they got breakfast one place, lunch one place, supper one place. The next day they got stuff. And so I think, one of the things for really enjoying, celebrating, having a good holiday is try to slow it down a little bit. It may not be that you can just like skip stuff or miss stuff, but find a way that when you're at that place, that you're at that place. Travis, what's your famous line you talk about all the time?
Be where your feet are.
Be where your feet are. Just
be where your feet are.
Just try to soak up those times.
Look for those opportunities to be a blessing. We pray for blessings, but we also need to make a choice to be a blessing. And so part of that is being where your feet are, being with great people when you get the opportunity, and to have good conversation, and not, I know sometimes we get together and we feel the tension to make conversation, but try to let it flow and let it just kind of, hey, how's life going? It's going well. And, you don't have to be brutally honest necessarily and go through all the things that are not going well. But there are things to talk about, things that, memories that you might have. Good memories are always nice to bring up. And
maybe the one thing I need to work on the most is stay off of this for a little while.
Oh, man.
I mean, when you go in to see family you haven't seen them forever, don't keep your head buried in the phone. I will say that during our first Christmas party, bad planning maybe. I hope the people who planned it aren't listening. But it was the night of the SEC championship. So and it was not somewhere where we could watch it. So I was watching the ESPN ticker or whatever, and like I'm sitting there watching as the little, symbols kick the football.
So everybody that's listening is like, what a hypocrite.
Like, yeah. So I did do that, but part of the reason was like all the other uncles were gathered around my phone going, what's going on? What's going on? So everybody wanted to know, but we were together in that moment. And so, I do need to do that myself. That's probably one of the things that I struggle with the most.
One thing I was thinking of was just being able to say no. And it doesn't have to be in the holidays. It can be any time. When you fill your time up with so many things, so many events, you can bog yourself down really easily, and that's easily happened in the holiday season. And so just taking time to maybe say no. You don't have to say yes to every single event. So I think that can help your mental state very easily. It's just taking some time for yourself.
No is a really good word to learn.
It's tough.
It is tough.
A lot of people have trouble saying no to things, but I think it's very important.
Yeah, I do, and I've struggled with it. I've gotten somewhat better at it, and then sometimes I backslide and I stop saying no again to things.
I'm not one of these 5 a.m. Black Friday, and I'm not judging anybody that does. Maybe that's a sport. I know some people, man, they got the shirts, they got the whole thing. And that's great if you enjoy it. And I actually enjoy going with Whitney. We go later in the day, mainly because I'm a people watcher, and man,
it's the place to be.
It's like the circus has come to town. And so along with, being able to say no, there's also like finding ways to laugh, finding ways to make things lighthearted. And, I kind of pride myself on being that guy if I can be.
Yeah.
I'm not always that guy, but I really this year and even the last few years, I found it a lot easier during Thanksgiving to like really be thankful and be happy, or at least content where I am, and try to enjoy who is there. So I really made that a point the last 2 years, and that's helped the whole Christmas thing. the whole rush that comes along with it.
And I think that sort of segues into the other part. These two may kind of mesh together a little bit, but just make sure that we remember that it's about the relationships. It's not about what you're getting. It's not about um, I guess it's not about the food, but man, the food's a good part
It
of
helps.
it.
It
I mean,
helps.
It brings
it
all
helps. It
the fellas
brings
to the
us-
yard, if I can quote that.
If you feed them, they will come.
Well, that's
Yes.
right. So, I mean, it's an important aspect of it to get fed, but it's also, the most important part is the being together, the time together. And I guess I thought about this the other day. I've been reading to all the classes at Marcel. I've been reading the Grinch, and I mean this like TK up to the third grade, I think, is about as high as I went with it. But we were just talking about what do you learn from it? And I know the movie's a little different from the book, but the whole thing was he thinks he can steal Christmas and make it not happen by taking their stuff. And at the end, he hears them singing, and he recognizes maybe it's not about the stuff, maybe it's a little bit more. Maybe it's about the people, and maybe it's about the time that you get to spend with them. Maybe it's about the relationships. They were still singing regardless of, or even though their stuff had been taken from them. And so I just thought about that with us is, what if we woke up? I asked these kids, what if we woke up on Christmas morning and there was nothing there? Could you still have a good Christmas? Has it become so much about the gifts, so much about the stuff that we get, that we fail to realize that it's really just about the time that we get to be with people? So
I think the idea is we've kind of taken the idea of gift and we've kind of messed it up. Like, yeah, Ben's going to get me something. That means I got to, we make an agreement. Don't get me anything. I won't get you anything. That helps kids. Ben has 5 kids, so
That
like
does help a lot.
he doesn't have to buy for my kids. I don't buy for his kids.
True.
But that's not really a gift. The idea of a gift is not, oh, you're getting me something, I got to get you something. The biblical idea of gift, at least, is we've received something that we can never really truly give back. We can't give what God has given us. We can't outgive God, although it's nice to try from time to time. But that idea of a gift, that giving something in relationship, being present, being vulnerable, being available, is such a tremendous gift to give people. Like
My wife and I do dinner with each of our parents one night a week, and I feel like I've grown closer to her parents. That those relationships have been strengthened, especially with my mother now. We have dinner with her. We spend time with her a lot more, and I can really feel that making a difference in the holiday season. So
That's awesome.
These relationships, and it can be with anyone. I mean, y'all aren't my family, but we talk and text every single day about who knows what. But we're
never know.
We're together.
And you will never know.
We're together, and we're having fun, and it's so we grow through moments of being together. So I think your quote there of being where your feet are, just really living in a moment, helps a lot.
And we have so much that surrounds us that really tries to steal that gift from us. We're always looking ahead, and if there's something I've passed on to my daughter, is that we have a real struggle of just taking a second and going, okay, this is what's going on now. This is the fun we're having. This is the great thing. And I know that growing up, there was a lot of time I missed because I was, when's the next big event?
Yep.
Well, every day the sun comes up is a big event.
Well, I used to, I don't know if anybody else did this. I used to get kind of like weirded out thinking about eternity. Like when we get to heaven, because it's like they talk about it never ends. It goes on and on and on. And I'm like, I can't even fathom that because everything in life is about what's next.
Schedule.
Yeah. Like what's coming up next? Okay. Well, there's this big game coming up, or there's this next family thing coming up, or this is the next place I got to go and be to speak, or, whatever. This is the next place I got to be. We're always on to the next. And it's like, when we get to heaven, it's just going to be about relationships. It's just going to be about, the relationship between us and God, the relationship between each other. And so it's just kind of a scary thing sometimes when we have to just stop and be where we are. And, the other thing about the gifts is that, Paul quotes it. We don't really know where Jesus said it, but he said, the Lord said, it's more blessed to give than to receive. And sometimes I was talking to my kids about that. It's not about what you're getting, but it's about what you're giving. Thinking in terms of, if we can think about, Christmas is more, what am I giving to people? Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. What is it I can do for other people, not what I'm expecting other people to do for me?
We've been studying angels in the young adult class here at Highland Park, and the verse that keeps coming up is the one about entertaining angels,
Yep.
being unaware of it.
Yep.
And so how are you, how are you relating to people? How are you talking to people? I was in the Chick-fil-A line, and I had a free sandwich the other day, and I was all excited about this sandwich. And then I pull out, and there's a fellow there holding a sign, and I'm like, it made me think twice.
Yeah.
Can I make an impact? Is this God telling me something here? So you have these moments, but you have to be, and I may not have noticed that had we not been studying about angels and making the comparison between those verses there.
I think that's really interesting, because if you give that guy your sandwich, you're making at least some impact. Maybe we might look at it and go a micro for a little while. You're filling his stomach, which is a big deal in of itself. But it's the part where you don't know, am I making a big impact?
Right.
And it's one of those things where it's like, just do it. And then you see, you may or may not. And we may not know this side of eternity, the impact of something like that.
And people talk all the time, it happens several times a week here where somebody comes and asks for help. And, we find ourselves kind of battling with, do we help them? Because, if we help them and then they go use the money to do something else. And, at some point, my gifts are gifts, and what people do with them are up to them. Now, if somebody continually comes and we know that they're wasting those things that we're giving, and they're really not in need of them, then at some point we go, hey, we're not going to waste what God has given us to help somebody else with if you're just going to take advantage of it. But, sometimes you don't know. And I think it's better to go, hey, I'm going to help this person. I don't know what it is, but God's given me the ability to help them, so I'm going to turn around and help
them. See that example of Jesus. He doesn't know what we're going to do with the gift he's given us today.
That's true.
He has a hope.
And a lot of times we don't do very well with
exactly. So that's some great points, fellas.
Yeah. So I guess kind of thinking in terms of the relationship part, Blake, I know all of us have experienced loss and different things. And I know pretty recently, your dad passed away. So, when it comes into the holiday season, things like that, what is that? We've been talking about relationships and being where you are. Kind of fill us in a little bit about, some thoughts you have on that.
Well, I won't limit it to just the holiday season. The last roughly year of my life has been great gain of a relationship. I was married.
Yeah.
And then last year I experienced great loss of a relationship with the loss of my dad. And I think each one of them has taught me completely different things, because I have a grieving mother.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't say I have regret, but I remember things, and it's I don't know, it's deep within me now, and they resonate more with it could be something really small that would that may get me, but having the loss of my dad has made me realize, man, my relationships with those around me now matter so much more than anything that I could have ever imagined, because I've lost a grandparent before, but they were elderly.
Yeah.
But my dad's loss was super unexpected.
Right.
Like I came home from the gym one day, and it was just chaos at my house. And so experiencing something cut off out of your life instantly, it makes you realize that, wow, life really is but a vapor. And what am I doing now to make the most of each situation in my life? So now I fast forward to being married in April. My new wife, Reagan, there's nothing better than having just a lazy day where we're doing nothing, where we're just hanging out at home. Like we had things on the schedule this past Saturday, and I said, Reagan, let's cancel all that stuff and let's just hang out at home. Like, let's be together. And we, I couldn't tell you what we did on Saturday, but it was great. I know that much. Like, we were together, we were hanging out, and it was awesome. So having experienced loss and then experiencing such gain, you get a great perspective about what you have and what you may not have, and how you can make a difference with that in the future.
And you may just need one of those. Like, I mean, that's where we started. It comes back full circle. It's okay to go, hey, we just need a day to chill and enjoy each other's presence.
And you've talked about after your battle with cancer is the perspective is different. Appreciate each day. Appreciate what you have. Kind of that slowing down. Just knowing that those relationships are that much more important, because you see the brevity of life in general, and it kind of makes you, I think, gain some awareness that might not have been there. Because I think at some point in our lives, all of us think, well, the people we love are always going to be around. We're always going to have this, and when we've kind of realized that, we start understanding that that's not the case. Hopefully, we find a way to slow down. And I think so many times we think we have to have something big to enjoy it. Like we got to go to the beach to spend time together, or we've got to go out to eat. And I like what you said. Like sometimes it's just we're canceling everything and we're sitting at the house.
And another point, you may not have a spouse. You may not have a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. So how do you find that happiness? Well, you have to first be, I know it may be cliche, but you got to be happy with yourself. You've got to find that inner peace within yourself. And then, that's how I grieve differently than someone else may grieve. And you have to find what works right for you. I know you may deal with that in counseling all the time, but you have to find what works for you best. That way you can have a more healthy, mindset going forward.
I think that's such a powerful thing about the Holy Spirit, that it's not cookie cutter, the same thing, and it's not going to work the same way for everyone. It's never going to contradict the Word of God, but it's working in all of us. And then not only that, it works through us to help others. We have a different type of relationship than you and Ben have. Ben and I obviously have a different relationship than we have with you, but all of those things can be used by God to encourage us and lift us up. So that's some great points, guys.
Yeah.
We're not done with Blake. We're going to bring him back for a second episode and have some more points. He's been great. But as per tradition, we usually wrap up our episodes with a little bit of a fun question. So here it comes, and I'll jump in with my answer so you got some time to think, because we're just throwing this out here. But it is Christmas. We are around that time. There are parts of Christmas that annoy us to no end. There are parts of Christmas that we love dearly. So the question is what, it can be either one. I'll make it a little bit easier. It can either be what song just annoys you to no end. We can go negative. We can go, which song do you just love and you can't help but love it? Or maybe what song has your perspective changed on, that maybe like growing up you thought, man, it's a lame song, but you love it now, or vice versa. Like you loved it growing up, and man, if you hear it again, it'll be too soon. It's like one of those things. So I'll jump in.
Okay.
Right? So when I was growing up, I thought, Mary, did you know? I thought, man, that is the lamest.
That was the first one that
the lamest song in the world. Like, come on. And now it kind of hits hard, man. Like, it hits me. Like, did you know? Like, what do you know? Now, some of the questions there, I'm like, well, yeah, the angel told her. Right. Maybe that's my issue with it growing up. But now I'm like, as a parent, wow. These kiddos came to my house. It was like, no, I had no idea what I was getting into.
I saw a meme the other day that said something about married is, did you know, is to theologians as isn't it ironic is to English teachers.
That's great.
So whatever that means to you. So it is a good song. It's one of those. It was the first one that came to mind when you said which one annoys you. Sometimes it's annoying to me, and sometimes
it depends
like
on
that.
who's singing it,
kinda
right?
does,
Sometimes it's
yeah.
like, ugh.
Blake and I can remember somebody here. Do you remember when Bobby Denton sang it in one of the events that we had down
He came
here?
to mind when I was
Yeah.
processing the question.
So Bobby Denton has sung "Mary Did You Know." I think he's actually got it on an album. So
Yeah, I know he does.
So
the song for me that is cringeworthy, and I'm not a big Christmas antics person. Like the decorations before Thanksgiving, like that kills me.
Don't drive through my yard.
The
it was up before
the music, like the day after Halloween, it seems like. No,
that's true.
But
it is.
But I'm not an R&B guy at all. But the one that makes me cringe every time is "All I Want for Christmas Is You." Oh my goodness! Let me go. Just lose it for a minute when I hear that song. I mean, it's
the first Christmas song I hear every year because of my
Yes.
wonderful wife is "All I Want for Christmas Is
like
You."
as I was coming over here, I was on the radio and I was clicking seek, and it was just Christmas songs.
Yeah.
And then that one hit, and I was like, "Oh man, let me just."
And you rocked out to it.
Let me just pull over.
There are a lot of people turning this podcast off right now because that's their jam.
Right.
You know,
I know it, and I apologize.
That was the other one that came to my mind.
You should have jumped on it, Ben.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that one either. But I'm just not a big, like, if I have my choice, I'm not riding down the road listening to Christmas music. However, my wife is, and my kids like it, so I end up listening to an awful lot of Christmas music and probably watching way too many Hallmark movies. And the crazy thing is some of them are starting to grow on me. and my wife is like, I'm like, oh, I know what's gonna. She's like, just stop. Kenya's like, stop. Just don't. I was like, I can tell you what's about to happen. Like, they go to open the present, and I go, it's gonna have this in it because I know exactly what's coming. She's like, I know you can predict it, but it doesn't matter. It's still good. And then every now and then I still get sucked into them.
The Holy Spirit is not cookie cutter like a Hallmark film, right?
True.
Just put in a new hunky looking guy and a beautiful girl, and whatever. So what's
and everything was working fine until they had some other boyfriend showed up from the past, and then he goes to get on the plane, and then she's running down the road trying to catch him, and all that kind of stuff. It's always
Sweet Home Alabama, dude. Right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's what it is.
It's better than Nicholas Sparks in him. Somebody's got to go. Somebody's died.
Somebody's dying.
Somebody's dead. Somebody's
dying. Let's see. Probably the Jackson 5, Michael Jackson. What is that? Is it the
well, there's I saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus, and then there's Santa Claus Coming to Town.
Yeah, probably any.
Yeah,
either one of those.
Okay. Santa Claus Coming to Town.
Probably more the I Saw Mama Kissing Santa Claus. It's not that I don't like the Jackson 5. I don't know. Just the voices can get a little annoying from time to time.
A little pitched, a little up there.
I will say the one I like the most is the rock song that all the Christmas lights are to every year.
Dun 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 dun.
Yeah. No, that one's awesome.
That's the Trans-Siberian Orchestra or whatever.
Air band, like do all the sound.
Yeah.
We should probably spare the.
We should probably do that, but we appreciate you guys listening in. We certainly appreciate Blake, and just hang on. He's coming back for one more. Ready to thrive in your ministry work? Pursuing a degree in biblical studies at the undergraduate or graduate level is now more convenient than ever. The deadline to apply for spring semester classes at Heritage Christian University is January 10th. To apply or see all the classes available, visit www.hcu.edu. Nearly all of these classes were created to be taken remotely, so no matter your schedule or location, you can be a part of learning more about the Bible in the new year. Apply today.
Thanks for being with us for this episode of the Helping Healing Humor podcast. Be sure to download our free ebook, 28 Days of Focused Living, at benandtravis.com and receive all of our Helping Healing and Humor extra content directly in your inbox. We look forward to having you join us at the same Ben and Travis time, same Ben and Travis channel.